Lee Pate.
Mamie Pate.
No, I can't write.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it right. Okay, Mrs. Pate, where were you born?
Where's I born?
Yes, ma'am.
Cravens, Oklahoma.
And when's your birthday?
February the 1st.
What year?
I was 88-year-old.
You born what? 1896.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your father?
John Wilcox.
Where was he from?
I think he come Missouri. I believe it is Missouri or Kansas. Both of them, I think.
And who was your mother?
Amanda Wilcox.
What was her name before she was married?
Marks.
Marks. And where was she from?
Well, now I don't know for sure. They come from out west.
Yeah. How come they came to Indian Territory?
Well, I just don't know. Oh, my folks, they said they was running a railroad through here, and my mother and father, and anyway, the Marxists was working on the railroad, the new railroad that come through here, went down towards Tallahassee and down through there. And
What do you remember about Cravens?
well, I remember it was a nice place to live. We
What kind of work did your father do?
farmed.
Farmed? What kind of crops did you raise?
Huh?
What kind of crops did y'all raise?
We raised corn, and he'd raise enough cotton for the milk cows. And raised corn, and he'd plant sorghum, made our syrup.
Did you help your father make sorghum?
No, Dad didn't make it. My uncle made it.
Did you ever help him make it?
I'd go down there and watch him.
How did he make it?
Well, he had a great big old pan, whatever you call it, about that wide, and I don't know, 6, 7 feet long. And he run that syrup, run that cane through something other,
A mill? Sorghum?
mill, some kind of a mill, and taking the juice and made sorghum.
He has to. What did you do with the juice?
Made sorghum
I
out of
mean,
it.
how did you make the sorghum?
He made it in this pan.
You have to boil it.
Oh yes, he boiled it, no telling how long. Stirred it.
What kind of chores do you do around the farm?
What I done?
Yeah.
I done it all. I mean, I could do it all nearly. What horses they rode by, they rode it one time, and then I rode it the next time.
What chore do you like doing best on the farm?
Well, my back bothered me a lot. I couldn't do too much, but I like to ride a horse.
Ever pick cotton?
Oh yes, pick cotton. And,
How much cotton could you pick in a day?
oh, I picked over 100 pounds.
Did you help your mother do the laundry?
Yeah, we laundered with a rub board.
Tell me how you did the laundry.
Oh, you just have about 2 tubs and a wash pot out there. And start a fire around that wash pot and put your clothes in the tub. Put your water over them and get your rub board put there. It's a bar of soap there. Well, I used to make lye soap.
How do you make soap?
Well, you just make it with so much grease, and
Yeah.
or cracklings and so much water. Well, boil it so long. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that that bull.
You were talking about making soap.
Yeah.
How exactly do you make soap?
Well, you can make it with ashes. We used to make it with ashes
How do you do that?
out of the fireplace. Well, Mother had a big barrel out in the backyard, one of these here. Well, it was just a barrel, but it wasn't too awful big. Oh, about that big. Put it up against the fence out there.
3 feet across?
Something like that. And we burnt wood, in the fireplace. And wood, green wood in the cook stove, too. And Mother wouldn't use that in the fireplace because she couldn't keep them from spitting in there, and she didn't want that. So she'd save it out, she'd put their ashes out of the stove into that barrel. And all you had to do to put some water over it and make a hole down there in your barrel, down there towards the bottom, and you'd run out of that barrel into that bucket or whatever had down there. And then we'd take that and make soap. We always killed hogs and had cracklings, and I like to eat the cracklings if they're good and brittle. And scraps of meat that we didn't eat, and put that in the wash pot, water out of that ashes, and make soap.
How much water would you use out of the ashes?
Oh, I done forgot, son.
Yeah.
But put so much water and so much grease. And then you could make hard soap too. There's two ways to make it. If you just had pure grease, tallow, or pure grease, you could put so much in and make soap. Just put so much water in. I always had to have a kind of a recipe to go by. And I used to never make. I all made raising my family. I made soap, And one day my husband, he come back from town and he brought our grocery bill. And there was some Pates that lived across the mountain from us. And those women or men, whoever it was, put it down on my bill, our bill. Melvin comes and says, count that up now and see what that is, and says, Saturday go in, I'll pay it. And I was looking at it and found this 2 or 3 kinds of soap on there. We didn't buy no kind of soap but toilet soap. Never. And I told Melvin to come in. I said, Melvin, that's not our bill. I said, why, there's lye soap on there. No. Soap, put down 3, 4 places. And I said, we don't buy soap, laundry soap. So he taken it back up there when he went to town, and Tom says, one of them, I think. And he told me, he said, Melvin told him, said, this ain't my paper. Said, we don't buy soap to wash with at all. Said, the old lady makes it. And he said, well, I tell you where the mistake is. Said, there's a Pate lives across the mountain over there, and said, they just made a mistake and put it down on your name down there on his name.
What other chores did you do around the farm?
Well, we raised chickens, and I've raised ducks and geese.
Did you ever help in butchering hogs?
I never did do none of the killing.
Yeah.
But I've helped, and smoked our meat.
How do you smoke the ham, the meat?
Well, you just wash them off good and put anything then on there you want. I done forgot the names that you wanted it to be good, and hang them up in the smokehouse and smoke them. And I smoke my bacon too.
What kind of wood is best for smoking?
Hickory wood.
Hickory?
Hmm.
You ever render lard?
Oh Lord, yes.
How do you render lard?
Just put it in the wash pot. Make your fire around the pot, and or either I have rendered out on the cook stove if I didn't have too much. Put it in a big dish pan or something other like that. But I usually just went out in the yard and rendered it.
How long does it take to cook it down to render it?
It takes quite a little while, because after you render it, get it too fast, why it runs over.
Where'd you start to school? Where did you start to school?
Cravens?
Cravens? Is that the name of the school?
I don't know about that now. I've done forgot about that.
Remember your teacher's name?
Yeah, let's see. No, I've done forgot.
Yeah, okay.
I've done.
What do you remember about Cravens?
I've been cooking ever since I was 6 years old. Mother was sick all the time. And there's a man come to cut Daddy's oats down. And that morning I had burnt my head. I was cooking and had a big old tea kettle. And Daddy had put it behind, and he'd said, "Now, daughter, don't you move this tea kettle off in here." He said, open the lid up and just put your water in there and then shut it back up. Said, "Don't move it." And old me, of course, the water got out of it, and I put it over on the first place. And I'd put my bread in there and to cook, and I looked down, opened the door and looked down to see if it was done or cooking. And it didn't touch me as I went down, but when I come back up, that steam hit me right up there. Lord, it did hurt. And this man, Melvin, is telling them about it, and Melvin said, "That child can't cook dinner by herself." He said, "I'm going to go and help her." And Melvin said, "Okay," but said she'll cook it. And he noticed my head, and Melvin didn't tell him nothing about that. Or my daddy, I mean now, John Wilcox. And he said, "My Lord, girl, what have you done to your head?" I said, "I burned it off steam from a tea kettle." But he said, I don't know how old I was right then. I've been cooking ever since I was 6 years old.
So what did he do?
But I never did move that tea kettle anymore.
Yeah. What'd you do for the burn?
I forget what Daddy put on it.
Do you remember any home remedies, home medicines your mother or your father used?
Yeah. He used turpentine and quinine. He used quinine. We taken it too.
What would you do for a cough?
I think it was, Mama made some of it. Honey and something's what we done for some of it. But I forgot a lot. I told them when they had something we're doing up here at Wilburton, I said, come out in the paper, and I said, shoot for, I said, I know more than that. I said, that ain't all right they're putting down there, they put down there.
What was they putting down there?
I don't know.
How big was Cravens?
It's quite a little They have a store down there nearly all the time now, and used to have post office. And we lived across the mountain one time, I know, from Craven, just across the mountain.
Which mountain is that?
Well, we just called it Craven's Mountain, I guess, all I know.
Craven's Mountain?
Anyway, we'd go across the mountain, and we lived on that side of the mountain then, but it's still called Craven's. And Daddy had, they had dug a big well over there, and there was some good farming land, and it had already cleared out. And Daddy and them went across the mountain to farm, raise some stuff. And we had a big garden over there, and my uncle and his wife, they gardened some too. So we went over there, taking some sacks, and went over there to get some garden stuff across that mountain, and the wolves got after us as we come back.
The wolves?
Yeah. In time we got home, we didn't have no groceries in our sack. We'd fed it all to the wolves to keep them from eating us up, I guess.
There's still wolves down here?
Yeah, there's still some. Was at Craven's. They'd come through my field, and the deers too.
How big was your farm?
Oh, we farmed in two places I can remember. I could walk to every place nearly. I could. I was young. Every place that we lived in.
Did you ever know one of the old Indians around here? The old Choctaws?
Used to, yeah. There's some Indians down there when we moved down there.
Did they ever tell you any stories?
No, not. Let's see, there's Choctaw Will Brown and Abel Brown was brothers. And then they had some kinfolks. Lord and McClish lived it over at the lake. I don't know, there's several Indians lived down there.
You ever meet any of the Indians that were born back in Mississippi or Alabama? That came over the trail?
I don't remember, son.
Yeah. Ever hear of the Sequoia Convention?
What?
The Sequoia Convention? You ever hear about that?
I never heard of it.
That's when they tried to make Indian Territory the state of Sequoia.
Yeah.
That was back in 1906.
Oh, I guess I'd heard about it, but I forgot, I guess.
What about Statehood Day?
Hmm?
What about Statehood Day? Do you remember that day, November 1907?
What day did you call it?
The statehood when Oklahoma became a state.
I remember it all right.
Were the
Talking
people
about
around here for statehood or against it?
I think that's for it.
Yeah.
Troy Pate, and he likes to sing, and he went somewhere or another and sang several songs. And then he sent me the, what do you call it, to listen, to hear.
Tape?
Tape.
Recorder? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that people here were for statehood back in 1907?
I reckon there was some.
Yeah.
I think they were.
Mm-hmm. How long did you live on the farm?
That's all the place we ever lived,
Mm-hmm.
on the farm.
What do you like about farm life?
Well, I think it's a nice life. Do what you please. You have cattle, and you have hogs, and you have chickens, and I raised chickens, can them, have chicken all winter. And I had ducks and geese, and I picked enough feathers off of them ducks and them geese to, all four of the kids has got a pair of pillars that I've saved, picked and made pillars.
Yeah. Did you, on the beds, you have a feather tick on the bed?
No, I don't like feather bed
No?
myself. Mother did, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I never did like a feather bed.
So you have a store-bought mattress then?
Yeah. Hmm.
What did you dislike about farm life?
Well, I never did dislike it, only till I got where I wasn't able to do it. But I don't know. I like it till yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've lived in town.
It is?
My home was in Cravens, and after I lost my husband, and just me and my sister living. She lives at Cravens tonight yet. And I don't know what I started to say.
Well, about your sister and the farm life. And
Mm-hmm.
what kind of house did you live in on the farm?
Just a pretty good house. Melvin had one built. Well, he built two houses. We just lived in two different houses, my husband and me.
What's your husband's name?
Melvin Pate.
Where'd you meet him?
Huh?
Where'd you meet him?
Right down there in Cravens.
And when did you get married?
Lord, I don't know. And when I moved, I lost my Bible. I had all of my daddy's birthdays, and it's left down there in the house. I know it was in no dresser. And Normandy didn't want, when I bought my place, why, I just bought what she had in the house too, mostly all of it. And
Tell me about what you remember of World War I, 1917, 1918.
I think I had a son. My oldest son was in there.
He was?
And he don't even get a check now.
He doesn't.
He didn't ask for it, I guess. I guess you have to ask for him or do something. He didn't do it. And my youngest wasn't in there too long till the war was over.
Was that World War I or World War II?
Two, wasn't it? Two.
Do you remember the First World War?
Yeah.
1917, 1918?
Yeah, I remember.
Tell me about what you did during the war.
Oh, I don't know, son.
How about Armistice Day, when the war ended? As November 1918.
Well, Troy was, I forgot what year though he was in there.
Tell me about the Great Depression, 1930s.
Oh, it was pretty bad.
How'd that affect you and your family?
Well, we lived, we never did go hungry. We had a hard time, but we didn't go hungry.
So you and your husband were farmers most of your life?
He had cattle too. When we married, why, he was working out Arizona, I believe it was. Wanted me to go out there, but I said, no, Melvin, I ain't going out there. I said, leave my mother. Mother was bedfast, and I said, now after Mother gets well, I said, I'll go with you. But I said, not now. So he went back out there, but he didn't stay long. He come back and rented him a place. And Went to buying him some cattle.
Who was Craven's named after?
I don't know, son. I done forgot.
Yeah.
I done forgot.
Did you know Mr. Burton?
Burton. I've heard the name,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he lived at Craven's.
No, he lives here in Wilburton.
Yeah, I know I'd heard the name, but I know.
On the farm, what kind of wagons did you have?
Wagon.
Yeah.
Well, it was a four-wheel wagon. That's all I know.
Remember what brand it was?
No, I sure don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you live? How far from Craven's did you live? Did you live in Craven's?
I lived in Craven's.
Mm-hmm. How long would it take to drive?
Just walk down the hill to church.
Mm-hmm. When's the first time you came to Wilburton?
Oh, I'd come with Melvin about once. We'd hardly ever every week. I'd come about twice, about every 2 weeks.
You ever come in a wagon?
Oh, yes.
How long would it take to drive from Craven's to Wilburton?
Not too long.
Would do your shopping over here?
Yeah. What we didn't order, we ordered a lot of her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Sears and Roebuck, Montgomery and Ward.
Tell me about your early Christmases as a little girl.
Huh?
Your early Christmas? What's the first Christmas you remember?
Oh, I don't know about that now. What good would that do you?
Oh, I'd just like to know what kind of toys you got for Christmas.
Yeah. I usually got the girls a doll, and I can't think what I got the boys.
What did you get as a little girl? What did your parents get you?
Sometimes didn't get me nothing. We didn't have the money to get.
Mm-hmm. How big was the house you grew up in?
It wasn't too big. 2 bedrooms, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Kitchen and dining room.
Was it a frame house?
What?
Was it a frame house?
Yeah, built it.
Mm-hmm. Your father built it?
No, he bought it after they built it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell me some more about being a farmer's wife.
Yeah.
What was your average day like on the farm?
Well, get up and cook breakfast.
What time would you get up?
Oh, I've got up a lot of time when me and my husband's living. 5 o'clock. Cook his breakfast and he'd go to work.
Mm-hmm. Mow with the cattle?
Mm-hmm. And I washed on a rub board till my son, oldest son, was in service, and he said, "Now listen, Daddy," said, "I'm going to send Mother some money back. I'm going to send a check back on just what I need." And said, "You go to town and get her a washer and dryer." And so that helped me out a lot. When he was at home, when I'd wash, why, he'd wash his overhauls and rub them once, and then I'd put them in a pot and boil them. But I washed on a rubber board a lot of times.
Well, what else you want to talk about?
Huh?
What else you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know, son. I tell him I got so old I can't remember nothing, and I can't write, and sign my name once in a while, but I doubt they could read it.
Yeah.
And
Tell me some more about the chores.
I've been a Christian ever since I was about 14 or 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Tell me some more about the chores besides making soap and doing the laundry, and what else would you do in the farm?
Well, we haven't always planted peas, black-eyed peas in the corn in the middle when he's laying corn by. And I canned 60 quarts peas off in there one year. And some woman lived at Center Point, and he knew him, and I knew him too. And so he saw her in town one day, and he told her about the peas, and she'd have all she wanted to. She'd come and pick them, and she come and picked peas twice and canned peas. And she died last week up here in this home.
She did.
Mm-hmm. Miss Bishop.
Yeah. Well.
Hi.
What other chores did you do besides making soap, doing the laundry? What else did you do?
I had a cream separator, and they'd milk 8, 9, 10 cows before they went to school, and separated it, sold cream.
Who'd you sell the cream to?
I don't know, somebody.
You sold in town. You
Sold
sold
it
to
in-
Kelly's here in Wilburton.
Kelly's.
Mother, I got to go run. I was just gonna bring you that fruit.
That's my youngest daughter.
Mm-hmm. So you had about 8 or 9 cows you had to milk?
Oh yeah. The children did. I didn't then.
Did you milk cows when you were a little girl?
Oh yes, I've milked cows.
How many cows you have to milk?
Well, if we didn't separate cream, we didn't have over 2 or 3. But if we sold cream, you had to have 8 or 9 or 7 or 8 cows.
Did you make your own butter?
Yeah.
What kind of churn did you have?
Had a wooden churn for a long time. Cedar, made out of cedar. It was about that tall.
About 2 or 3 feet?
Yeah, it is up about that tall.
Yeah, a couple feet
It's
tall.
about that tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the dasher made of cedar also?
I don't know nothing about that. I can't think. I don't remember about that.
You ever have a daisy churn?
Huh?
Ever have a daisy churn?
No, not that I know of.
Well, we have a good interview. I've enjoyed this.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm forgetful. I'll show you our family when.
Okay, let me take. Well, I want to thank you.
And this is my oldest brother. Oh,
How long does it take to make a quilt?
it won't take too long.
It doesn't.
Lord, I've made the kids all about 2 or 3 apiece and pieced them, and I got more than. I was piecing when I got sick and had to leave home.
Mm-hmm.
I got a nice house over here, not far from here. And
How many quilts have you made?
oh my God, I couldn't tell you. I've made a lot of them though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them.
How long does it take to piece a quilt together?
Well, it just take you not too awful long. I usually, when I paint a quilt, I just do my work up and then get a piece of my quilt, fixing it, according to how you made it.
What do you use for batting?
Cotton.
Cotton?
Hmm.
Did you raise your own cotton for batting?
Sometimes we did. Sometimes we did.
Who ran the cotton gin around here?
There was one in Red Oak, that's the closest. There was one.
Who ran that gin?
I don't know. I've done forgot. Yeah.
So you'd have the cotton gin and you'd use it for batting for your quilts?
If I didn't have it, well, I bought it.
Okay, thank you.